Okay, so to continue, we'll do these examples in class. Remember, there's two things. You have to first state whether the gradient is positive, negative, zero, or undefined, and then find the gradient. Okay, use the example that we did up there, like take 2 points. Take 2 points which are easy coordinates from your line. Generally, like for something like this, you would take a y-intercept and our x-intercepts, or we just take anything in the middle which has got exact whole number coordinate values. Okay, so try that and then we'll check in class on Tuesday. Second examples for these two. Now, I've done one example already. We'll do the second one in class. So with this example, if you have a look, start off with your formula, m equals rise over run. Remember, rise corresponds to your y direction, run corresponds to your x direction. So if we are looking at our rise, out of the coordinates of A and B, which coordinates are we looking at? You know, the first numbers or the second numbers? First number or the second one? Yep, you're right. It's the second one because the second number is our y value. And then obviously the first number is our x value. Okay, so for looking, if you're doing rise, that means you find the difference between 4 and 6. So you do 6 take away 4. If you are finding the run, difference between 3 and 5, 5 take away 3. Now if you have a look, if I've taken 6 take away 4, then it's 5 take away 3. It's not 6 take away 4 and then 3 take away 5. So you have to be consistent. So that's why I've written the B over there. The 6 and the 5, these are coordinates of point B. And the 4 and the 3, they are coordinates of point A. Okay, so you need to be consistent. Anyway, so once you work that out and you evaluate, you get a gradient of 1. Okay, now moving on. The 3 main types of lines that we have. 3 main types. 1, vertical line, which is that. Vertical line has a gradient of, yes, undefined. Good job. You guys are on the ball today. Well done. So let's add that as well. Okay, m equals undefined. All right. So if m is undefined, that means the gradient is so big that we can't define it, and it's a vertical line. Now the equation of the line, because this vertical line, it crosses at point B. So therefore, whatever point on the x-axis it crosses, it tells us that the x value is that much. So if this point B was 2, your equation would be x equals 2. If this was 5, equation will be x equals 5, because it crosses the x-axis. Likewise, if you look at the horizontal line, it cuts, intercepts on your y-axis. So therefore, it's y equals whatever this number is. And who can tell me what the gradient would be? Horizontal line gradient is, gradient is, yay, 0. Good job. Right. So these are the important points. You need to remember these important points, okay? The vertical line, undefined gradient. Horizontal line, 0 gradient. Horizontal line, the equation is, because it cuts the y-axis, y equals the number. Vertical line, it crosses the x-axis, x equals the number. Now the third type is all of these. Now I'm going to run through a little test with these types of lines. Okay, so we'll just switch to this software called Desmos. All right. And what we're going to do, I'm just going to move the gradient over there. Now, we'll try this in class as well. Okay, so I'm going to just write equations of some lines. So, say for example, y equals just y equals x. Now, this is the first one. Y equals x. It goes right through the center. Okay. Now, next one. How about y equals 6x? Have a look. 6x. Okay. Now, I'm going to write down y equals a smaller number than 6. Think. What do you think will happen? Will the line be steeper than the red and the blue line or less steep? Okay, now y equals x, which is the first one. What's the number before the x, which means the coefficient of x? Is there any number? If there's no number, so therefore the number is 1. Exactly. So that means that has got a gradient of 1. This is y equals 6x. 6, coefficient of x is 6. That has a gradient of 6. Now the next one I'm going to write is 2x. Look at that. That's y equals 2x. So, the steepest line, slightly less, that's the least steep so far. All right, and check out which number makes the difference of how steep the line is. So, what do you think will happen if I have coefficient of x as a fraction, which is like less than 1? What do you think? Have a think. Okay, let's see if that's what happens. I know what you all thought. Not 1. I'm going to go half. Half x. Check that out. Isn't that cool? Now, what do you think will happen if I make the coefficient of x negative? Negative. Remember, negative gradient. What direction will it have? Spot on. That's what's it's happening. So y equals, let's try it, negative 6x. Have a look at that. Negative 6x. So exactly, see, look at the difference. The same distance away from our y-axis. This is 6x. This is negative 6x. Okay, same amount of steepness, but just in the opposite direction. Do you think the same will be the case for y equals negative x? Let's try that. Okay, y equals negative x. Look at that. So exact same as that. Okay, but just in the opposite direction. And I'll just do one more, or maybe let's do 2 more. Y equals negative 2x. Y equals negative 2x. There you go. Compare that with the 2x, which is the green line. Okay, and then y equals negative half x. Okay, now so going back, so I'm going to actually cut this out and paste it on our OneNote page, so you can have a look at that later. Okay, so going back to our OneNote page, that's exactly what that is. Okay, so the lines are going through the origin. The format of the equation is y equals mx, where m stands for, we just learned it, m stands for, yes, gradient. Okay, all right. And then if we substitute the m with different numbers, it just gives us different types of lines. All right, so we'll do some questions in class, okay? But meanwhile, come prepared on Tuesday. Make sure your notes are ready, and we'll discuss more of this then. Good night.